Hey there, Capricorn. Welcome to your reading for, this is your September bonus reading. You start with this hourglass card. It says time is of the essence. You have this air card. It says seek union, mind and spirit. Yeah, you always get these cards about time, or whatever. But, what I will say, Capricorn, is obviously Saturn is going to be retrograding into Pisces on the 1st. Saturn is retrograde right now. So, it's like one of those things where it kind of makes sense that you would be your ruling planet going retrograde, Saturn, and Saturn is time. It kind of makes sense that you could be dealing with things that have to do with like time, right? Or needing to, make some decisions here in your life. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me at all. And, that's what I'll say there. Your first card here is the Seven of Pentacles. I'll show you in a second. The Seven of Pentacles is a card of a change in direction, and this first position here in the Celtic cross represents how you're entering into the reading, or this month. And the Seven of Pentacles is like a change in direction. He's looking at these Seven Pentacles, and he's saying, is the juice worth the squeeze? So he's wondering, is something going to be worth his time or not? And, again, I can't answer that question for you. You have to answer that question, Capricorn. It's like, this is a card of analysis. We also have the North Node or the South Node in Virgo. We also will have an eclipse in Virgo on the 21st, right? And so it is a great time for you for analyzing things and deciding what's worth it, what's not worth it in your life. And so, as Esther Hicks says, you could be doing a lot of this, like, sifting and sorting type of energy this month, which I do think it would be a good month for that, by the way, Capricorn. Like, it wouldn't be a waste of time at all for you to look at things that you do day to day and to say, this is worth it, this isn't. And just to, make those decisions, right? I think that could probably lead to more abundance, honestly, because, the Seven of Pentacles is, a really good card for deciding what changes you want to make. The thing about the Seven of Pentacles as well is that he's ready to level up. And, I think it's no mistake that you have the Nine of Pentacles right above it. The Nine of Pentacles, it would kind of be taking things to the next level here. And, yeah. Your crossing energy is the Three Cups. The crossing energy can be what hurts you or helps you in a Celtic cross. And the Three of Cups can represent, like, a celebration, socializing, having fun with other people. I do think it would be a good time for you to socialize and, spend time with people who matter to you. Maybe that it's asking you to do that, especially if you've been more isolated in recent times, or if you haven't been, spending time with people who matter to you and things like that. So, I think that would be good for you. These three people are celebrating a harvest as well. But the thing that's popping into my head for you, Capricorn, is I do think it is time for you to, like, celebrate. Like, sometimes I think we need to celebrate our wins. And, I feel this is saying, like, no matter how big or small the wins you're having at this time are, I feel that you need to celebrate those wins, instead of just kind of like blowing right past them and not, celebrating the process or whatever you want to call it. So that's what I would do here with the Three of Cups. Next, in the area of what's on your mind, you have the Nine of Pentacles, which is great. Nine of Pentacles, number one, is a card of gratitude and luxuries. So I do feel like, obviously practicing gratitude, being grateful for what you have, all that other stuff would be a great idea with this card. The Nine of Pentacles is also a card of independence, so like being able to take care of yourself. I feel a lot of you are probably focusing on doing things to help take better care of yourself, and if you're not, you should be. Like, and I'm talking about in the sense of putting yourself first, right? So I do think this is saying that it would be a good time, Capricorn, to put yourself first and make sure you're doing nice things for yourself. The other thing is, I feel like some of you are developing a new skill. She has these grapes behind her, and grapes in the tarot represent a specific skill that is difficult for most people, but she can do it well. So, it kind of says that you have a skill that most people can't do, but you can. So I would be using your skills, focusing on your skills, learning ways to enhance your skills. All that would be very good. Probably lead to a lot of abundance. You have the Judgment card. Judgment is like a wake-up call. Now, this is coming up in the area of your foundation. And so I feel a lot of you are kind of like ready for a new foundation, or you're ready to create some sort of change in your life. The Judgment card, again, the coffin represents their old life. The outside of the coffin is their new life. This is your higher self angel. So it's like you are literally being called to the next phase of your journey, or, the next big thing is kind of what I feel here, Capricorn. So it's, I don't know, again, we'll see what happens when I clarify, but I think you're being prepared for like the next big change in your life or the next phase. Like there's something about that. But like I'm talking about like a milestone, right? Maybe that's the word that I should be using here. I think we all have different milestones, like, work success, career success, relationship success, whatever, like certain levels. And that's what I feel like this card is talking about intuitively. It's like there's some sort of, like phase that you're about to enter into, and it's like a milestone for you. It's probably just a personal thing, so there you go. Next, in the area of the past, you have this temptation card. It says, what is tempting you at this moment may not be a wise choice. Luckily, it's coming up in the past. You have this hand of fate. It says, everything is happening for a reason, except the things to which fate binds you. Yes. It's like, I think you probably have had to learn to release control in life. Most Capricorns do, I believe. Have to learn that, they can't control everything. And also, sometimes trying to control things causes more of an issue. So maybe you've had those lessons. I also feel you have let go of temptations. For some of you, I feel this could be a person who is a temptation. I can't really describe it, Capricorn, but it's like I think we all have that one person, right, in our lives that has a stronger pull on us than maybe anyone else. And so I think that some of you could be like letting go of a person here that was a temptation. For others, I literally feel this could be talking about temptations, like pizza for me. I definitely should not eat pizza, and I actually I haven't for a very long time now. And but what I would say is if you plop the pizza down, right? I'm not talking about this bullshit, cauliflower crust BS stuff, right? I'm talking about the real thing. If you plopped it down in front of me right now, I would have a very hard time not at least taking a bite, right? So it's like there could be some literal temptations that you are being asked to avoid. I always think of Pluto retrograde. We have Pluto retrograde until October 14th. Pluto retrograde can be very difficult in some ways. Like, it's not like, Mercury retrograde or something like that. But it brings up these, like, deeper issues and deeper problems and deeper things. It's like we are, like, imagine, really what we are doing with Pluto retrograde is we are shining a light on something, or that's what we should be doing. We should be shining a light on our issues or challenges, or, you know what I mean? Like a flashlight. And so, again, if there are temptations. But where I'm going with this is if something's an issue, it's going to be an issue, right? Like if giving in to a temptation causes a problem for you, it's going to be magnified with Pluto retrograde. So, it's good to know what your temptations are. You have the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is being too hasty, rushing, jumping to conclusions. Again, coming up in the past, wouldn't worry about it. I actually think that you are seeing where you have jumped to conclusions or you've been too hasty in life and things like that, and you're probably just correcting it. Next, in the area of your very near future, you have this Take a Risk card and this Celebration card. Yes, Three Cups wants you to celebrate, and so a risk could lead to a celebration for you, especially if you're like putting work into something or taking like some sort of leap of faith that could lead to a celebration. But remember what I said about that Three of Cups. It's like that Three of Cups was saying to me, to you, that it wants you to celebrate. It wants you to have a celebration, wants you to be winning or something, You also, in the area of your very near future, have the Eight of Swords, so still a little bit stuck. I've been getting this energy for you for a while, Capricorn. I feel that some of you, it's like there is a leap of faith that you could be thinking about taking, but it's like there is still a little bit of a stuck energy. The thing about the Eight of Swords is, number one, it's funny that I brought up that Pluto retrograde, because it's like I'm wondering if, it's like if some of you are needing to believe that you are worth taking a risk. Did that make sense? I don't know. But, Pluto is probably in your second house, depending on when you were born, of course, right? Aquarius is probably your second house. Second house has a lot to do with your value, right? It's like sometimes we think about it as a house of earned income and, luxury goods and, things like that as well. But I think you need to remember that the first three houses are personal houses. It's not just the first house in astrology that is us. It's really those like first three houses that all have to do with us in some way. And, having Pluto retrograde in the second could be bringing up issues of value, how you value yourself. And, I don't know, it's popping into my head as like if you are feeling stuck or if you're not sure what to do in life or if you're not sure about, what to do next, that could be something that you could work on is your value or how you value yourself or something like that with the Eight of Swords. So yeah, like I said, definitely I don't know where else I was going with that, but definitely somewhere that's what I would be focusing on. And it is a card of self-imposed restriction, so again, it would be a great time for you to set yourself free. Next, in your outcome row, you have this closure card and this revisit card. Some of you could be getting closure from a person. I'm not saying you're going back to a person, but didn't I say this to you recently? I'm pretty sure I did. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I said this to Capricorn. I'm not suggesting that you would go back to a person or anything like that, but you could be definitely getting some closure. And it's popping into my head a little bit of deja vu here. So again, you could be getting some closure from a past person. Again, of course, I would be careful of like living in that. Like with Pluto retrograde plus, Saturn, Neptune retrograde, we still do have a lot of retrogrades right now. I do think we need to be careful of like being stuck in the past or staying stuck, right? And so I would be careful of that. Plus we have 2 eclipses. That's the other thing is that, there's an element of eclipses that can definitely bring up the past. That doesn't mean necessarily that they're coming back, but we could think about it. We could be processing it, whatever. And so I think it's like, as long as you're not getting stuck in the past, I think it is perfectly fine to process the past, right? Let's put it that way. Next, in the area of the next few months, you have the Queen of Wands. Really good energy for you. I mean, the Queen of Wands is about being bold, being assertive. Doesn't matter what gender you are either. The Queen of Wands follows her bliss. She has this sunflower right here, so she moves towards the sun. It's like, I'm going to tell you something funny here. It's like for, and maybe this will make sense to some of you Capricorns. I've heard a lot of stories from like people, just like on podcasts and stuff, where they have the same story, which is that they reach a certain point in their life. I'm trying to think of a person off the top of my head, but I can't really think of one, of course. But I'm sure you've all heard this story, right? Where it's like a person will pray to God or the universe and say, if you give me one last chance, I promise I won't screw up again, or I won't do this, right? Again, I don't have any good examples, but I'm sure you've all heard, successful people. They all say that, where they basically pray to God and they say, if you just get me through this, I will do X, Y, Z. I will, I will change my life or whatever. And then they do. It's like, I don't know why, but that is popping into my head with this Queen of Wands. I'm not saying that you're doing that, but I almost do feel that you are getting a second chance from the universe in some way. Or it's like it's like you're getting this like breath of life or something is popping into my head. Again, I read intuitively, so, again, yes, I understand that's not what the Queen of Wands means, but it's like I'm getting this second chance thing where it's like maybe the universe is saying like, okay, this is like another chance for you to do something that you wanted to do. She has to be bold and assertive, though. She has to be confident to make that second chance happen. So I would make sure that if you are getting a second chance, that you really, in any area of your life, or if you feel that, like, breath of life, like I said, where it's like almost like I don't know how to describe that. I wish I did. But, it's like you're getting that chance. I would really take it. Next, in the area of your closest relationships, you have the Magician. Magician says you can have whatever you want, basically. The Magician is about manifestation, right? He is manifesting things down on earth, but he is doing it by being in alignment with what he wants. So, again, I think being in alignment with the things that you want in life would be great with the Magician, and getting into alignment would be great. You definitely could be attracting things. Now, I think there's plenty of opportunity relationship-wise, like not just love. You have the 3 of Cups. 3 of Cups can also be your community, your closest relationships, the people who matter most to you. And so, again, like I said on that 3 of Cups, I think you need more time with those people, having that as your crossing energy. So it would be a great month to spend time with people you care about. When the Magician shows up at the end here, I always pull whatever card he's pointing towards, and we're going to take this one. It says up in the air. It says that this situation has many unknown elements due to the influence of others. So yeah, again, if you are looking for love, for example, this could say you need to make your own decisions and not listen to other people, right? And so, that could be a problem. It could also say it's up in the air. The choice is yours. If you are wanting to date or meet new people, sure, you can. If you don't, then you won't. So, again, I think it's kind of up in the air. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the 4 of Swords. Yeah, I'm really happy to see this for some reason. I feel very good about this 4 of Swords. I feel that Capricorn, some of you literally need a healing. And again, I'm not a doctor, so do not take this as medical advice. Again, people ask me all the time why I don't do health readings. Because we can't. That's why. It is illegal, at least in the United States, for tarot readers to read in detail about health So that's why I don't. But also, it would go against YouTube guidelines as well. So there you go. But, again, I do think some of you could be going through healing or doing something to heal. If you've been asking for something as well, he is hoping and praying for a blessing. There's a person blessing another person up here in the stained glass window. So I do feel like some of you could be receiving blessings that you have been hoping and praying for, which would also be great. Your outcome is the Page of Wands. It's like, I think you need more of this energy here, Capricorn. I feel like the reading is saying this is the energy that Capricorn should embrace, right? I don't think it's advice, or it is advice, but I don't think it's like a prediction or anything like that. I think this card is saying it would be amazing if Capricorn would embrace this like happy-go-lucky, non-attachment to outcome type of vibe, right? So in all areas of your life, anything that you want to create, do, be, or have, I feel it would be an amazing time for you to like just be like, you know what? I'm just going to see how things go. Instead of like being like, I need things to go this way. I feel that, again, it's kind of like the Saturn energy for you, I think, is not necessarily bad, but it could be, is what I would say. I think with Saturn retrograding into Pisces, that some of you, again, could feel like you've wasted time or you're out of time. I think the thing that will make it good for you is changing your mindset and saying like, okay, like, yeah, I did maybe I do feel behind. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting these things to yourself, right? But now I can change that, right? Like changing the perspective of that. It would be great. And I do feel like there could be things in your life. And again, I would say don't beat yourself up over this, Capricorn. But, I think there could be some things where you're like, oh my God, I should have done this when I was younger. I should have, done all these things. But you can now, is what this card is saying to me. And it's also saying, and yeah, maybe you did take things too seriously when you were younger or whatever. But it's like now you can be more playful. Now you can approach things from a different perspective. So, you know what I mean? It's like I would work on the mindset there. With the Three of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Swords. Really good. A lot of aces in these readings, I've noticed. So definitely could be like a powerful new beginning coming in for you. The Ace of Swords is also like a big victory. So there really could be some sort of big victory coming in for you here with the Ace of Swords. The other thing I would say is I think it would be a good time to practice balance and to be balanced in life. And that's that. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Ten of Pentacles. Love it. Are you kidding? Ten of Pentacles is everything you want and desire. Nine of Pentacles is good, but Ten of Pentacles is better. And, I feel that the Ten of Pentacles is kind of like having it all. And, are you ever truly going to have it all? As I always say, probably not. Do we ever truly have it all? Probably not. But I think working towards having it all is a worthy goal. I think that's where true fulfillment comes from, right? And so I think that there could be a lot of, like, those fears that you could be working through with the Ten of Pentacles and that you need to release and let go of. And, I'm talking about everything in your life, right? So it's like, maybe you want to have a relationship to have true fulfillment in life with this reading, right? But you could also be saying, yeah, but, everybody cheats or everybody causes these problems. And it's like, those are the things you have to let go of. Same thing with money. It's like, you could be thinking that to have a fulfilling life, you need more abundance. Sure. And that's probably true, but you also, maybe you have money blocks that you need to work on, right? With the Judgment card, you have the Empress. Really good. I think you're entering into a very abundant time. I've said this to you many times because Pluto in you've had Pluto in Capricorn for like 20 years of your life. It almost feels like a punishment. It's like, I think that, especially, like, if you were, like, if 20 years ago, if you were younger, like, if you were, like, 10 years old, let's say you're 30 right now, and you were, like, 10 years old, I think that is I don't know what generation that is, so forgive me, but, like, whatever that generation is, the Pluto and Capricorn generation, kind of. Although, again, if you were 10 years old, you wouldn't be part of the Pluto and Capricorn generation, but still, what I'm getting at here is that, I think it was a very hard time to grow up in, especially if you're younger. Even if you're not younger, it's still very difficult to have Pluto and Capricorn because, as I always say to you, Capricorn, Pluto is as close to Earth as it can be in Capricorn. So, Pluto has a highly elliptical orbit, and, it gets very close, but still very far away. And so it's very challenging. And, again, I think you need to realize it's your time to have this glow up. Like, some people read the Empress as a glow up. To me, a glow up reading is Empress, Star, and the Sun together. I need all three. But I do feel that you have the opportunity to, create more abundance, create more good stuff. But she really puts herself first. And we kind of said that with this Nine of Pentacles. I was getting that message on the Nine of Pentacles that I feel like you have to do something to put yourself first, or it's like there's something about that Nine of Pentacles that was really saying that to me. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Ten of Wands. Yes, I think there are many things that Capricorn is shedding. It's like you are like an onion person right now. You are, even though this is coming up in the past position, I think you could really be getting to like the bottom of things. We were talking about shining the flashlight with Pluto, right? This is a deep work reading for sure. It's a good reading. But, I feel this for Capricorn right now, that a lot of you could be really getting to the center of an issue. It's like sometimes I think we think that an issue or a blockage that we're having is like one thing. But then we peel back a layer and we realize that it's like much, much deeper. And then we peel back a layer and we realize it's a little bit deeper. Again, but I think when we get to the core of an issue, like what the actual problem is, then we can solve it. So, again, pretty good. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Two of Swords. They are both wearing blindfolds. She has a blindfold on. She has a blindfold on. The blindfolds in the tarot are about needing to trust your intuition. Both of them, they need to open up to their intuition to find a solution. And so, yeah, maybe like whatever this is in your life, maybe you just need to trust your intuition more. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Eight of Wands. Pretty good. Eight of Wands is quick success, quick conclusion. I love the Eight of Wands personally. To me, it's a card of like things speeding up in life, things improving. All those wands are pointing in one direction. And same thing with the Queen of Wands. She follows the sun, right? And so I think for you, that your only focus should be on exactly what you want, nothing else. And I feel if you can do that, then things will go very well. But if you're focusing on things that you don't want, then, what I would say here is then that's where the problems can come up. So I would make sure that you are drawing your focus to what you want and not on what you don't want out of life, right? Eight of Wands, by the way, is also about your words. And since we have so much stuff here about deep work, I would make sure that you are kind of focusing on speaking positively as well. With the Magician, you have the Fool. Yeah, definitely time to take a leap of faith. You had this card somewhere up here. Didn't you? Or I don't know, maybe I'm making this up, but maybe I'm thinking of that time as of the Essence card. It's like definitely time for you to take a risk or a leap of faith in relationships. And I'm not talking just about love here, Capricorn. It could be any type of relationship that you want at all. And, it could be a time for you to take that leap of faith, right? The other thing is like loyalty. You have this dog right here. If you're worried about loyalty, the dog on the card represents loyalty. So you could be attracting someone who is very loyal, just in general. Here you go. With the Four of Swords, you have the Sun. Yes, we've been talking about this the whole time. I think you need to follow the Sun with the Queen of Wands. The Sun can be anything. The Sun is like a spotlight in a reading. It's basically your attention. I always say with the Sun, I think one of the best actions we can take with the Sun in the tarot is to pay attention to our attention. It's like, I think our attention is drawn to things, and it's like we just need to move towards it. One thing I will tell you that like it's kind of like a double-edged sword, which it's funny you have the Ace of Swords here, because Pluto retrograde can make us, for example, and we have a lot of stuff going on with Neptune right now as well. And so like one thing that I've noticed is I think we can be like, I was talking about health on that Four of Swords, right? And I think we can be a little bit more of like a hypochondriac during the times that we're in right now. Like a little thing can be magnified bigger. A little issue can feel bigger than it actually is. And so we need to be careful of that, but also we need to pay attention to our attention. We need to get to the bottom of an issue. So it's like a little bit of a balancing act. Like, especially with your health, it says get to the bottom of the issue. Go to the frickin' doctor if you're having an issue. Go seek out an expert, right? But also at the same time, don't be like so paranoid about it that you're on WebMD every 2 seconds being like, oh, I'm going to die in 2 weeks, right? We have to like find that balance between, giving something the attention it deserves, but also not being totally paranoid, right? And that's popping into my head here with the Sun for you, Capricorn. So I think finding that balance, but not even in just health, in like other areas of your life as well, like money, finances, things like that. It's like, yeah, maybe you're like worried about something going on in work, but it's like, if you get to the bottom of the issue, is it really a problem or are you making it bigger, right? That's what I would be careful of there. With the Page of Wands, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Yes, this is the thing that will change your fortunes, is non-attachment to outcome with that Page of Wands. Being more happy-go-lucky, being more in that space of being, joyful, peaceful, focusing on happiness, all that other stuff, right? That's what I would do there. Next, you have this October card in this rainbow. It says, the most difficult part of a situation is over. It makes perfect sense. Pluto goes direct on October 14th. So I think pretty much everyone by the middle of October is going to feel a little bit of a release. Maybe even sooner. We don't have to suffer, with astrology. As I always say, it's like astrology is not a prison sentence. If we work with the energy, we will move past it. So again, shining a light on your issues, going deeper on those things without being paranoid, all those things that we talked about, could have this happen sooner. But again, I do feel a sense of relief by the middle of October for most people because of Pluto direct. You have this carrot. It says opportunity or windfall. Yeah, there's I feel this for Capricorn where it's like something that you're thinking about working on is probably going to be a better opportunity than you think, which I definitely have said to you before. A carrot, when you think about it, we just see the green stuff, and then the good part is underground. So it's like we have to pull it up, right? And so if you're thinking about doing things, I think, anything, that you will be successful, but you have to do it. You have this success card. Yes, definitely success coming in for you. You have this vulture. It says depression, anxiety, worried that someone is against you. Yeah, it's funny because I literally say to everyone that I think everyone could be feeling this right now. Not to beat a dead horse, but we had Mars retrograde last year into this year in Leo. Then we had Mercury retrograde just recently ended, right, in Leo. Next year we will have Jupiter retrograding in Leo. It's really weird to have 3 planets basically retrograde almost in exactly the same part of the sky. They're not all hitting the same degree. They're not all retrograding at the same degree, but pretty freaking close. And so it's kind of weird to have that happen. And, and I think it could be triggering that Mars retrograde energy. So, just something to think about. You have this gavel. It says involvement with the law. No speeding at this time and all that other good stuff. I feel like I said this to you recently. So I would just pay attention to the rules. But that's it. This looks pretty good here, Capricorn. I do like this for you. So thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your month.